I would rate this statue a 6 or maybe even a 7 depending on my mood. Still a well-sculpted Wolverine in my opinion, a rare suit, nice shiny metal claws. Today we are going to unbox, I think, a rare Wolverine. I think some of you guys want this Wolverine. It's not actually expensive, it's just a little bit rare. I don't think a lot of you wants this in your collection since this is not your usual Wolverine. But I think I got it at a very fair price because I bought it locally. Anyway, this is a Wolverine like I said. So let's start the unboxing. I got this from the same guy I bought my Pushy Venom, and since I got that cheap, this is actually quite cheap as well since he doesn't collect custom statues anymore, so he is getting rid of some of the stuff that he doesn't like, I guess. Okay, I'm not sure if he unboxed this or not, or assembled it or displays it. So it says here Master Custom, so that's from the group, but let's not display that. But I don't think the group exists anymore, so I think it's okay. It's a bit heavy. Nani? Finish him! This is actually a very cool box. I would say it's easier to take the top off. I think we can get away with not removing everything. Should be easy to unbox. The box is a bit broken here. That's fine. So we have the usual Velcro straps and black foam. Oh yeah, this definitely unboxed already. Why isn't that sticking? It's odd. Okay, let's look for the base first to make everything easier to assemble. So the base is not here. On the first layer, we have the portraits and the body. Okay. Base is obviously here. Wider than I thought. It's a bit tricky because these are steps, and I'm afraid if I pull it, the resin will break. Trying to find a good spot to hold. Anyway, let's get the claws first. We got metal claws 1, 2. They're actually quite deep. The claws are extremely hard to get. So we got 4 of them. But we do have a sword right here. But the sword isn't made out of metal, and the hand is a bit loose. Anyway, need to figure out how to pull the base out. I think I need to get this out first. It's a bit too tight, I would say. So may pagtanggal, Brad. Okay, so we do need to pull everything out. Let's try and drop the base. Okay, the problem was there's not a lot of gaps between this and the foam, so it was extremely hard to pull out. We have to rely on gravity. The problem is I can't pull the base because the steps are quite thin, and I'm pretty sure if I pull it out, it would definitely break. Let's see the edition size. So this is the End Wolverine, sculpted by AJ Pandey and Dever Rawat. The edition size is 55. I got number 27. Didn't expect the base actually to be this big. Anyway, we have some of these plastic things that will be most likely stay here. Anyway, let's figure out that later. Let's go back to the first layer. Okay, so we have one of the hands here. We have the right hand and the claws are already installed. We have one of the portraits here, the one with the most fragile hair actually. Okay, let's be careful. It has a lot of hair strands, single hair strands. Doesn't seem to have any break. So we have the unmasked portrait here of Wolverine. He has a very long hair, lots of strands, very beautiful portrait. Has white hair. I think this would stand on its own. Yes, not. Okay. Next is, I believe, would be my favorite portrait for this Wolverine. This is the all blacked out portrait. I'm not sure if this is comic accurate, but I do love this portrait a lot. And it's the main reason why I got the statue. Next one is like your typical X-Force Wolverine. However, this part is not grayed out, but it's black. But it does feel like X-Force still. This one actually feels like a Batman portrait. Moving on to the last portrait, we have another unmasked portrait. It has a similar hair to this one, I would say, but no single strands and nothing that would break easily. So that's that. I don't think I'd be using this anyway, since I think this is the best unmasked portrait. And last item, I guess, is the body itself. Here you go. So we have Wolverine that came in one piece. His left foot does have a key, and the right foot does have a number which says 32. I think you can rotate him however you want on the base. Depends on how you want him to stand. The claws, let's put that later. Let's go for the right hand first. Then might as well use my favorite portrait to make him look like Batman. Let's try and install the claws. One of the claws is actually really sharp compared to the other ones. I'm gonna add a blue tack to that later so it doesn't fall. Okay, next for this plasticky thing that I believe would go here, but they don't stick. Don't think they should be mounted inside as well. Maybe they do. Yeah, you cannot definitely mount it inside, so it does need to be here somehow. Anyway, I don't think that it matters anyway. I'm not gonna display this. So yeah, we have completely assembled the end Wolverine, but I do believe that this should be the portrait you will be using to make this statue more accurate. The hairs are actually really scary. Anyway, there you go. Okay, so time for the review. The concept of this Wolverine is he is on a museum type pose, flexing his claws. This is almost a museum type statue if not for the massive base it has. I think it would have been a lot better if it has only 3 steps instead of the 5. That would have saved a lot of space. I think the concept is good enough, but would have preferred if they have removed the bright colors on the base, namely the purple and green ones. And I think this green thing on the step should not be protruding out, but instead should be flashed inside the step. Lastly, I was able to figure out where this mesh thing goes in here. It's inside the base below it, and it's a little bit hard to put inside, and you do need a blue tack for them to hold. This statue does have 4 portrait switchouts. The one we have right now is the unmasked long hair version. We also have a younger unmasked version right here. Then we have the masked version with the mouth exposed, which is kind of similar to an X-Force Wolverine, but also similar to Batman. And lastly is we have my favorite portrait, which is the all black portrait. Wolverine does have 2 right arm switchouts. The claws are made out of real metal, which is fantastic. However, the sword is not, and more on that later in the video. Next is let's talk about the sculpt. I obviously love muscular sculpt, so this is no exception. I love it even more since it's Wolverine. His suit has textures all throughout. They use two kind of textures, which is great. I don't see anything wrong with the anatomy, maybe a little bit too bulky for some collectors. His right hand though with the sword does have some problems. It feels like it's not printed on the same scale, and as you can see, his palm is a little bit bloated for some reason, which looks really weird in my opinion. The sword does have some details and texture, which looks very nice. The engravings on the sword is also a nice touch. In case you are wondering what this word means, it's Japanese, which means immortality. The seam on his right hand is a bit visible, but not that bad. It's visible no matter which switch out you will use. The portrait, I would say the one we have on is the best unmasked portrait, and I think might be the portrait you will use if you buy the statue. His hair strand is a bit too fragile, so do be careful of that. The other unmasked portrait doesn't have any fragile hair, which is good, but I don't like the looks of it. Might consider converting this to white hair in the future. Now, for the first masked portrait, I'm not really a fan of this exposed mouth portrait. Main reason is I'm not feeling the paint at all, but more on that later. And lastly is my favorite portrait is the full mask portrait, all blacked out, which looks fantastic and matches the whole vibe of the statue quite well. Now moving on to the paint. The base paint I would say is average. Would have preferred it to be darker, like the grays to be gunmetal paint, and remove the purple ones for sure. As for Wolverine himself, I don't think there's anything wrong as he is like 95% black with some small red highlights. They could have opted for a bloody red or metallic red that would have popped more, but that would be the only 5% of his costume and would not really matter. Now, for the portraits, I hate the skin tones they use. Wolverine looks like he's brown here, or he looks like he has sunburn. 100% not a fan of that. The white hair does look good, but the black hair one, definitely not a fan. All the three portraits right here all have red eyes. The long hair one has the only one with the white eyes, which is great. This version of Wolverine, I would say, is a little bit hard to find. It's not pricey, just hard to find. Pretty sure Wolverine completists are looking to add this to their collection. That's the only reason I got this actually. Anyway, the statue doesn't have any engineering problems, but I do have this one claw. Where is it? Here, which is broken. I absolutely have no idea where it goes, but it's broken. The right hand holding the sword is also a problem, and the sword is a bit annoying. As you can see, it's not straight. That's what you get if you use this material for swords, since it's thin and flimsy. For swords, they should also be made out of metal. Anyways, moving on, it was also extremely hard to pull the base out of the box. Not sure if that's good or bad, but it was hard to get a hold on anything because I'm afraid if I pull the steps while pulling it out of the box, it would completely rip off and destroy the statue. But the good thing is nothing break, especially the hair. Lastly, the purple and green stuff are an eyesore in my opinion on the base. I would rate this statue a 6 or maybe even a 7 depending on my mood. Still a well-sculpted Wolverine in my opinion, a rare suit, nice shiny metal claws. If you are looking for something else to watch, I recommend you watch this video of me reviewing my Grail Wolverine. This is it for this video. This is Carl and see you in the next one.